Hi guys, this is the first shoot on Excel. So today we're just going to go through some basics of Excel. First one is that when you first enter numbers, you need to learn a little bit about this part of the cell property in the selection tool here. So the first thing is if I type the letter 1 in here and then click away, if I click back you'll notice when I'm on the cell we've got quite a fat little cross, and that just tells me that I'm located on the cell. If I move down it turns into a 4 arrows marker, which means that I can actually pick that element up and put it somewhere else. So that allows me to move it. So that's like a directional arrows. And the other thing that we have is when we move a cell on the corner here, you'll notice it goes from being a thick to a thin cross. Now if I grab it on the corner, and you can see the dot there, and drag down, it will repeat the number 1 all the way down for me. However, if I actually put the letter 1 and then the letter 2, select both cells and drag, it will continue that series for me. Now this is one really interesting thing about Excel. It will continue a series in any direction you pull the numbers. So here it's continuing the series 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if I go to an uneven series, it will still pull that series through as well. So you can see here that each series is going up by 4. So what's one of the really neat things about Excel is that it does automatically fill the cells for you. Over here, I'm just going here. This is a nice little tool. It enables you to clear the format. So you can clear format, content from a cell. So at this stage, because I have no formatting there, I can just clear the content. Now, that pre-filling also works if we're to use something like days of the week. So if I click here and drag, it automatically fills the days of the week for me. It will also do this with months of the year as well. So even if we were to start in the middle of the year and pull, it will continue from that point forward. So that's just a really nice little way of adding content to your Excel sheet without you having to do a lot of typing. And all of those are really good for when you're doing budgets or any kind of work that's based around a calendar or a job scheduling, because you usually need months or days. Now the other thing that we can just have a quick look at, if I select a group of cells here, up along here I've got a number of different types of formatting. Now first of all, we've got cell formatting for borders, so we're just going to create all borders around this. We can also color the actual background of those borders as well, so we'll make these ones green, so that makes a differentiation between them. When we add content, so in this case we'll just add a group of numbers to start, then we'll do a few letters. You'll notice here when I do the letters, it will continue that process for the letters, A, B, A, B, A, B. Okay, and this one what we're going to do is we'll just set up some letters as well, and we'll pull those through. Okay, alright, now I can format these in different ways. So you'll notice here I've got left align, in here I've got centering, and here I've got right align. I can also position it at the top or the bottom or the middle of the cell. I can also bold and italic, and I can increase the size of the font. So those are your basic formatting processes for Excel. Now there is another sort of formatting, and it's called conditional formatting. Conditional formatting is this one here. Conditional formatting works on a number of different set rules, and they might be things like highlighting things that are greater than or equal to, between, or looking for actual text. So if I make a selection area, we go to our conditional formatting, and we'll say we're going to look for some text. We want to find any cell that's got the letter A in it, and we'll get it to colour that red. And you'll notice now conditional formatting will automatically colour any cell that's got the letter A in it red. Even if I add new cells, it will format and colour those as well. If I delete that cell, it reverts it to the colour that was behind originally. Remember, we coloured this green? But if I add a new content, it will colour that cell as well. This is an excellent feature when you're trying to find information in large Excel sheets, or you're trying to bring or draw data out from the information or the data that you've inputted. Okay, so that's basically just a few starting points. Now, going back to our clear again, we can go clear contents, which will get rid of the content of the cells, and then we can clear the formatting, which gets rid of all the formatting that we put there. You'll also notice here we've got a down, right, left and up fill, and that is this fill that we did before. When we go like this, if we select and go fill to the right, it's filling that cell to that cell. Now if I do it again and make a larger selection across, and we'll go fill to the right, my apologies, I pulled the cell. We go to the right, you can see it took that cell and filled it across. Nice and neat. This works really well when you're trying to duplicate formulas. Okay, next step, let's do some basic formulas. First of all, let's just add some numbers. So we'll put 1 and 2 together. We want to know what 1 and 2 equals. So first of all, the simplest way to do that is auto sum. So we can just hit sum. It selects those numbers, we hit return, and it gives us the number 3, which we know is correct. The next option that we can have is we can grab this group of cells and drag them across and repeat them again. Now if we have a look here, we can see that there are other things that it can do. We've got average. It will make the average of those two. If we keep pulling these across, give us some more. We can do count them, so we can ask it to count the numbers, which it hasn't done there. Just delete that. Select this. We're going to ask it to count. So it tells us that there's 1, 2 numbers. We can also do the max. So the max will tell us what the highest number is. And then of course the other one that we'll have will be the minimum. Okay, so they're all the basic functions. Now the reason those are there is because they're usually the functions that are most often used when you're doing basic formulas or basic setups in spreadsheets. So you see again, we've got sum, we've got average, count, max, and minimum. Okay, next thing we need to do is to be able to look at all the other functions that exist. So if we go into a cell, now if you don't know how to write a formula, the first thing you need to learn is that if you hit equals, it's the start of a formula, and you can see up here it gives us an equals sign. Now we create a bracket if we want to do something inside it, so we'll go this cell plus this cell, bracket, times 3. And that gives us that answer. We can then drag that formula, so it will actually add up these two and times them by 3, and we can keep dragging that down and repeating that formula. So you'll notice that the formula is dragging through. Now let's say we don't want the 3 value here. We want that value there to be changeable. So what we do is we change that value to F1 and press enter. Now you can see that 1 plus 1 is 2, 1 plus 1 is 2, but times 0, which is what this cell is, gives us 0. If we change that cell to 3, it now gives us 6. Now if we pick this up and drag it through, you'll notice one interesting thing. 2 plus 2 is 4, times 3 should be 12, but this is actually increased. And the reason for that is, you'll notice the formula area here, F2, has changed. It should be F1, but it's changed to F2. So this is where we now have to use the absolute numbers in our formulas. Now, an absolute number is very simple. All it means is if we put a dollar sign in front of the F, then the column won't change. If we put a dollar sign in front of the 1, then the cell won't change. If we now hit enter, you can see our formula has an absolute number in it. An absolute means that it won't change if we drag it or copy it. So now we can drag that down, and you'll notice that this formula has changed these numbers from this one. So it's gone E2, D2, and this one's gone E3, D3, but the N number has stayed consistent. This is excellent for when you're wanting to use a number which you may then convert to a percentage, or there'd be a reason for it in your spreadsheet. Okay, so there's some really basic stuff for you.